What's up, everybody? It's the Bipolar Prophet, and welcome to Maypole Farm in Farming Simulator 22. Hey, my first talkie video of Farm Sim 22. First of all, let me say this. Thanks to everybody who's commented and who's liked the videos and the couple of Farm Sim videos that I put out in the last couple of weeks. It means a lot to me, guys. You know, there's a definite shift in the way the channel works now. It's not about Bipolar Prophet gaming and branding and all that stuff. It's about what it used to be about when I first got Farm Sim 13 and I first, discovered how you could actually record your gameplay and stuff. It's about playing the game, making videos, sharing them with you guys, having fun, right? So I thought I would make a video of Farm Sim 22 now that I've played for a little over 50 hours. It's been about 50 hours now that I've been playing almost exclusively, except for maybe 10 minutes, on my good friend Cavalier Roy's fantastic Maypole Farm, which is where we are now. I didn't want to say a whole lot about Farming Simulator 22 until I had a real handle on what it was. Obviously, I've been playing Farm Sim now for a very long time, nearly 8 years. Actually, a little longer than 8 years. Since Farm Sim 13. So, I played Farm Sim 13, I played 15, obviously, the Old Ridge series and all of that. Farm Sim 17, Farm Sim 19, quite a bit, even though I didn't make any videos of it, a couple. And now Farm Sim 22. So, I'd like to think that I'm knowledgeable enough about Farming Simulator, about Giants Farming Simulator, that I can speak intelligently about it. Now, I've never worried about speaking intelligently about anything else before, right? So, but I wanted to have a go with this. I figure 50 hours is kind of the minimum time that I want to spend on a game before I feel like I'm qualified to talk about it. Dan Brewster, a viewer and a longtime viewer of my channel, asked me a question. He says, well, what do you think about Farm Sim 22? So I thought while we were harvesting this gigantic field of potatoes, and it may not look that big, but it is big when you're only doing it a meter and a half at a time. So it's a pretty big field. It goes right around. It's pretty hilly too. So I thought, you know what? I said, we're going to harvest this field of potatoes, and we're going to make a video, and we're going to talk about what I think of Farm Sim 22. First off, let's get the obvious stuff out of the way. The graphics, of course. As computer technology gets better, as graphics cards get more powerful, assuming you can get one, of course, as processors get more powerful, the level of detail, the level of realism, the level of just overall look of a game is going to get better. And this has been proven over the years. Farm Sim 13, it was like 6 pixels, right? Farm Sim 15, they took a massive leap in graphics. Farm Sim 17 got even better. Farm Sim 19 was even better than that. And Farm Sim 22 was stunning. Now, I will say that in this video, I am running a reshade. I'm running just some stuff that I picked out. And I'm still having to go with it. I'm still messing with it to decide whether or not this is going to be the final sort of iteration of the reshade that I run. Because like so many Farm Sims since Farm Sim 17, it's just too oversaturated and too blown out for me. The whites are too white. The blacks aren't black enough. There's not enough contrast. It's not sharp enough. And there's only so much you can do with the internal graphic settings. So I'm running a reshade, which at the moment I like. It gives me the right amount of contrast, the right amount of sharpening. The shadows are good. The highlights are good. It's a little blown out on the dashboards and stuff, but it's not awful, and I'm not done messing with it. So that's the graphics. We know they're going to be good. We know the modeling's going to be outstanding because Giants has always done a good job with that, right? What Farm Sim 22 comes down to for me, like any Farm Sim, it's not the equipment. While I understand that Giants, in their heart of hearts, wants this to be an equipment simulator because they want to get the licensing for all these different tractors and all these different implements and all these different manufacturers that make this stuff. To me, while that may be what Giants envisions for the game, for me, it's about the features. What does the game do differently this time around than it did the last time? Now, we had to wait, right, from Farm Sim 19 to Farm Sim 22. Farm Sim 22 came out in November of 21. I didn't get it right away. I was way too busy at work. I wouldn't probably have it right now, to be honest, if it wasn't for my good friend Calvary Roy, who said, hey, listen, you've been doing Farm Sim for a long time. Get Farm Sim 22. Here you go. Have a go with it. And thank you, Roy. I greatly appreciate it. I've been making Farm Sim videos for a long time, and I've made probably 850 Farm Sim videos in my YouTube career, for whatever that means. And I've been saying some of the same things since, day one of Farm Sim. If we could have this, if we could have this, if we could have this. Now, I've said this in other videos. I don't think for a second that Giants has ever watched, anybody from Giants has ever watched any of my videos. You know what I mean? I've always been a bit of a Giants fanboy. I've always believed that Farm Sim is a good platform. It works. It does what it's supposed to do. There's always day one bugs. There's always month one bugs. There's always, year one bugs or whatever. But overall, out of the box, Farm Sim works the way it's supposed to work. It's a very complex game when you think about what it has to do, the calculations it has to make, the animations that have to be built into the game and everything. And it always works, and I've always been a bit of a Giants fanboy. This time around, though, because I've had the long experience with Farm Sim now, my biggest thing was, this is going to be full. I'm going to have a huge tab around here. While we tab around, I can show you what I'm doing here. Mulching a big old field of sorghum over here. That was fun to harvest. There's our big old class Tryon combine. Yep, I want this. Thank you. Now I just gotta find where this guy actually is. Is he coming this way? I think he's coming this way, right? But yeah, so for me, it was features. Have they added anything new to the game that makes it more immersive, makes it more realistic, makes it more fun? That didn't work. I gotta get out of the way, and I'm gonna kill some crop while I do it. But and the answer this time around is yes. Precision farming was probably the big thing in Farm Sim 19, right? That came out, and that really changed the way. Oh, he's full. Of course he is. Damn it. I was hoping he was going to make it around that corner, because it's real tight up here between these hedges and these trees, but okay. Precision farming came out. That changed the game, in a lot of ways, right? It wasn't quite Soil Mod, if anybody remembers the Soil Mod, which to me is still probably the best mod that was ever created for Farm Sim. But it was close. Now, we don't have precision farming for this yet. It is due to come out in a couple of days, I guess, from the time that this video was recorded. So that'll be fun to see what that does. And again, what you see going on here on Maple, I wouldn't really expect to see this going on when the real videos start, because I am waiting for precision farming to come out before I do a whole lot of serious farming. Right now it's just having a go, using the equipment, trying out some of the new features. One thing that I'm pretty impressed with is the fact that they have finally acknowledged the fact that there are different procedures as far as field work goes, right? It used to be plow, plant, fertilize, harvest, right? And for a long time, that's what it was. Now they've introduced some new features. I mean, they're not new to farming, obviously, but they're new to Farming Simulator. Where disking is now a thing, where plowing is now a thing, other than just to say that you did it. There's different textures for different ways you cultivate the field, different ways you work the field and all that. So that's cool. And I haven't really got into all that yet, but I'm very glad that they've decided to add that on to the game, because it's important. You know what I mean? If you're going to call yourself a farming simulator, well, then be a farming simulator, and let us do the things with farming that get done in real life, because that's the reason we all play, right? We want to simulate a real life activity, or at least most of us anyway. I will say that I like the fact that you can now disk stuff in. Mulching, to me, mulching is something that I've always done anyway. I call it disking, you know what I mean? When you go in and you're sizing all the stubble and, and all the trash that's left on a field. You're getting it down to some uniform layer that you can then turn into the soil that will then rot down and create more organic material. And it's good that they've added that. It's good that that's finally a real thing. The equipment that they've added is really neat. I like the fact that there's a level of gearbox now. I will say that the gearbox is fun. It is a little annoying occasionally. And I don't have a shifter, so to actually shift these tractors that require shifting is not something that I'm doing just yet. I'm using my paddles. They work fine. But I'm glad they've added it. They've added some new kinds of equipment, some different ways of doing things. Grapes and olives, obviously, are the big thing, and there will be a map coming down the road, some content from me showing grapes and olives once I learn how to do it. Fertilization is a little different now. Seeding is a little different now. We have half row shutoffs and nozzle control and all that other stuff, which is really cool. We'll tab around again here real quick. Get back to this. This thing is struggling pulling this big old harvester up the hill, but it gets up there, so it's okay. It seems to me that the level of farming has increased. There's always going to be new equipment. There's always going to be new tractors. There's always going to be the new big thing, the new shiny thing, or whatever. But it seems this time around that it's equally, I'm not going to say more, but equally about the farming, the actual procedures and the techniques. Now, if you play like I do, and you play on a very slow time scale, maybe you play 1-to-1, maybe you play where every day in the real world is a day on the farm. It's nice to be able to have to do the things that you would do in real life to make a 30-day month make sense. I used to do it anyway, regardless of whether or not it was actually having an effect in the game. I would disc, I would cultivate, I would do all the things, you know what I mean? I'd go up and chop stalks, if I was doing a big American map with a lot of corn and things like that. I would roll soybean seeds, even though it didn't really have any effect. Now it does, and that's good, because it gives the players that play for more than just the initial hit of plant, use the biggest tractor, use the biggest harvester, sell your stuff, and then go play something else. And I get it, and I've said this a million times. I understand Giants is always, their bottom line is their bottom line, right? They're a company. They have to make money. They're not in the business of making Bipolar Profit happy. I get it. But it's nice that they listen to somebody, and they said, well, if we put in some more features, you know what I mean? Because at some point as a business, you have to think about your base customer, you know what I mean? It can't always be about how many copies of this game do we sell, you know what I mean? At some point it has to be about how many copies do we sell to the people who have played every single iteration of Farm Sim since day one? And how do we make the game more enjoyable for them? It's a good business model. If you make the game more fun for me, a player with probably 5,000 or 6,000 hours of Farm Sim, probably more to be honest, then I'm going to buy the next Farm Sim, and the one after that, and the one after that, and I'm going to buy your DLCs. Because at this point, I'm a Farm Sim collector, right? I have every DLC that's ever come out for every Farm Sim that I own since Farm Sim 13. Because I'm loyal to the brand, I'm loyal to the title. Because while I'll put up with a bad one, and Farm Sim 17 wasn't bad, but it wasn't a huge shift from Farm Sim 15, I'll put up with that knowing that Farm Sim 19 is going to be better. And in this case, Farm Sim 22 is, excuse me, not leaps and bounds better than Farm Sim 19, but significantly better enough to make me say, well, I'm glad that, I would have spent my own money on this, right? Had I watched, and I didn't watch any videos. I know all the big Farm Sim YouTubers were pumping, content out for months before this game got released. They were getting the beta copies and the advanced copies and everything. I didn't get any of that. Giants doesn't even know I exist. Giants wasn't interested in having me as a partner. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not in the business of farming simulator. I'm in the business of working at a grocery store. Making videos is my hobby. It's something I enjoy doing, and that's it. But the big YouTubers, the big farm sim YouTubers, were releasing content. Now, I wasn't watching any of it. I really didn't. I wanted to. I figured, I knew at some point life was going to slow down, and I was going to be able to get into farm sim, and I was going to be able to, have a go with it and learn about it myself. Because to me, that's any game that's this complex, that has this many features and this many procedures and layers of things. I think it's best to learn it yourself. That way, you know what you're doing and you're comfortable with it. I suppose we could have a tab around here and watch him. Oh, he's done. He's done. Excellent. Turn the view button back on. Well, he's not quite done. I don't know why he stopped there, but okay, whatever. We'll finish that up. I don't really need you, obviously. I don't really need you either. You know what? We can run around and empty him. Why not? Gives us something to do. I will say that I am a big fan of the way the tractors look on the inside now. Now, the Farm Sim, from Farm Sim 13 to Farm Sim 15 was a quantum shift in the way that graphics were handled by Farm Sim. They sort of realized that all of a sudden graphics were important. Computers were better, graphics cards were better. People were more... They had a higher standard of what things should look like. And there's always been farm games out there, other farm games, that looked better than Farm Sim, but didn't perform as well, right? I would have to say now that I think Giants Farm Sim has sort of got it all wrapped up into one package. There's still some things they could work on, obviously. Like, working monitors, all these monitors in these tractors. They work to an extent. It would be nice if all of the features worked. I've always been the guy who said, give me clickable buttons in the tractor, right? Give me, make it like Flight Sim where I can click on a button or I can map a button to something, and make it do that thing in the tractor. But I also understand why they don't do that. It's a lot of scripts, it's a lot of animation, it's a lot of, texture work and everything else, and it's not for everybody. We had IC, right? And I was the biggest one to complain about IC because, it locks out my view or whatever. So I'm the first guy to say I want something, and then the first guy to complain about it once I get it. There's nothing. So I've played for a little over 50 hours now, and there's not one thing I can put my finger on that I don't like about Farm Sim 22. Now, I haven't had any experience with animals yet. I haven't tried animals. I didn't really want to get too deep into this before precision farming came out, because I know that's gonna require a new save. It's gonna change the way all this works. So everything you see on this farm isn't going to be here when the real series starts. This is me just cheating in money, having a go, and seeing what it was all like and everything. But I can't really put my finger on one thing that I don't like. I like pretty much all of it, except for, while the graphics are fantastic, the lighting, as always in Giants Farm Sim, is not good. You download Reshade, you have a mess with it. Maybe you find a preset that somebody made that you like. You know what I mean? I can never seem to find one I really like. So I end up having to make my own because I'm kind of fussy about lights, and I'm not 100% certain I'm sold on this one yet, but it is pretty good. And you guys can let me know what you think. And Reshade isn't really that. It doesn't hurt you that much, you know what I mean? I'm still getting 60 frames a second. My computer's not working very hard, or any harder than it would work playing this, anyway. So I'm happy with it. I've got a good computer. I've got a 6-core 12-thread AMD processor that runs about 4 gigs. I've got a GTX 1660 Super graphics card, a 6 gig graphics card. It's really fast. It's a gigabyte one. It takes a stupid high overclock, you know what I mean, without any complaint. So I don't have any issue running any of this, and neither should anybody else. You know what I mean? Giants has always been very good about making these games run on anything. Listen, the Abacus. Does anybody remember the Abacus? Right? I made, I don't know how many videos, 500 or 600 anyway, on a laptop. You know what I mean? That was never designed to play video games. but because Giants is so good at optimization, it did. Now, you gonna let me dump these here, or am I gonna have to move? No, you're gonna let me dump them. No, of course. BP, why are you field dumping these potatoes? Because I can't be arsed. I can't be. It's a bit of a haul back to the what I'm calling the main farm from here, so I just can't be bothered to haul them back. I'll dump them here, and then we'll come and pick them up with a loader or whatever. Load them into trailers, and off we go. You know, I'm very glad that all my favorite mods have managed to make a return and a quick return to Farm Sim 22, Courseplay and Auto Drive, and you know, and there's a lot of new things that Auto Drive and Courseplay do now that they didn't do before. So I'm really glad for that. You know, I don't have a lot of mods on this. I have the REA stuff, the wheels, and the implements. I have this tear up little field shuttle thing is obviously a mod. That Grimmy Evo 290 is a mod of the in-game thing. I guess you could call Reshade a mod, I suppose. I don't have Terrafarm in yet, but I'm gonna put it in because I have an idea about all these potatoes. So we're gonna have to have a look at that at some point and see how that all works. I have watched videos on that because I was really afraid that I could really screw up a farm if I didn't at least have a faint idea what I was doing. Tab around one more time. Just dumping those potatoes from the other from another field in that little shed that you just saw there. You know, the other fun thing is I'm getting to use stuff that I don't really use regularly, like, you know, big Deutz-Fahr, you know, Warrior. This is a great tractor. Especially once you put a little reshade on it, it looks fantastic, you know what I mean? And along with Real Dirt and Real Dirt Fix and Real Dirt Tracks. You know, I use those mods. I've been using those mods since they came out. Big fan. Sorry about that. If you hear that clicking and popping, it's my Diet Coke can. I'm very thirsty. It's warm here in New England today. And I'm not quite used to it. My throat's not used to it, and it's not used to all the talking. So I'm trying to keep my throat lubricated so I don't lose my voice. And I realize that Diet Coke is not the best thing in the world for it, but it's what I like. So I will say that the wear skins on these things are really good too. I like the way stuff wears out now. It's not patchy like it used to be. It sort of makes sense now. You know, paint comes off of things on sharp edges, right? And that's what's happening here. You know, paint on sharp edges is coming off. I would still very much like to see. So we have all the conveyors, you know, and we've had those for a long time. The dirt comes off, and you know, stones and things like that. But I wouldn't hate to see some stuff on this belt right here, which would be where the sticks and the rocks and stuff would drop off, right? And again, I understand why they don't. But it's an immersion thing, you know what I mean? If you're going to sit here, and if you play Farm Sim the way I do, where it's Farm Sim the movie as opposed to Farm Sim the game, it's always nice to have something to look at while you're doing that, right? I like the license plate feature, although I will say that if you're serious about the license plates, you've got to do the Courseplay license plate manager, because you will end up with the same license plate, and I didn't realize this for a little while. You'll end up with the same license plate on every single tractor and every single piece of equipment. The Courseplay license plate manager doesn't let you do that. You have to pick a new one, which is really good. I wouldn't mind seeing some nationalities and stuff in the license plates, but I also get why they don't do that. So this is fine. This is Maple Farm. This is it's an Irish based map. So, you know, the EU one is okay, I guess, and I'm sure somebody will tell me why it's not, but it's okay for me. Let's put it that way. You know, animations wise, everything looks really good. You know, the PTO, you know, shake, the cover shake and everything. If you get close enough, you can actually see the PTO spinning in there, which is nice. You know, again, the wear on the sharp edges. The deer are nice. You know, they scared the hell out of me the first time. I was like, what is that? I forget what I was doing. I might have been mowing, I think. And a deer ran out in front of me, and I'm like, whoa, you know, non-collidable, of course. But still, you know, startled me a little bit, but it's a nice touch. So, like I do with so many things, this isn't a review, obviously, and it would be dumb for me to do a review. The game's been out for a long time now. You're either playing it or you're not. If you're watching my channel, you probably are playing it, because we all like Farm Sim, right? So, So I'll do what I do when I used to have a look at DLCs and stuff. I'll end this video by asking and answering a question. The question I'm going to ask is, BP, would you spend $60 US of your own money on Farm Sim 22? And the answer is yes. It's that simple. No waffling about this time. Yes, I would. It is good enough that I think it's worth the money. Can you get it cheaper? Of course you can. And if you can, great. You know what I mean? As long as it's legal. But if you can't, you buy it on Steam. Is it worth $60? Yes. Are you going to get... Here's the metric that I always use. $1 per hour is the metric that I use. Am I going to play this game for 60 hours and get my $60 worth out of it? Or in this case, Roy's $60 worth out of it? Yes, I am. Because I already have. And I've enjoyed almost every minute of it. So there you go, guys. There's my first Farm Sim 22. Have a quick look, talk about it, tell you what I like, and as we go along, I'm sure I'll have more things to tell you that I like, and some things that I don't like. I haven't found anything yet that I don't that makes me go, ugh. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's something. It'll happen eventually. You know, BP. And then after a while playing it, I'll be like, oh, if it did this and it did that, right? Because I'm never happy. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. What do you think? Are you glad that you spent the money on Farm Sim? Are you going to get your $60 worth out of it? Are you going to play long enough to make it worth $60? I bet you do. But I'd love to know what you think. And as always, guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you see. If you do like what you see, all you ever have to do here is click the subscribe button. Click the like button if you like the video. Leave a comment if you have something to say, if you have a question or even a comment. I read everything. I reply to almost everything. And as always, this is the Bipolar Prophet saying, see you later.